Hello and welcome to this garden update. I'm out here with my snips today trying to take care of some dead and spent flowers, as well as just a little gardening cleanup here and there. We did start with the daisies at the beginning of the video, cutting back the spent blooms just to try and get it to rebloom for the fall. So the next thing I want to take care of are these calendula here. I have a pretty large patch in certain areas. This one particularly has a lot of dried flowers or seed heads that I do plan on removing. And if you guys are interested in having some calendula seeds yourself, at least the ones that I grow here in my garden, let me know down in the comments and we'll probably pick a winner to send these out to, if not a few winners, since we do have plenty. The calendula here in this patch is a light yellow. I think it really pops against the lamb's ear in the back there. I have some zeolites as well, but there's an up close on the seeds, as you can see. So I'll go ahead and save these guys just in case anyone wants them. I will have to apologize, guys, because we are nearby the street and it does get pretty loud. Oh my. I will say the best part about the calendula is they will rebloom. So as I cut these, I'm not going to cut them down too low just because, again, they'll split off and create new flowers. And no worries, guys, I'll only be collecting the viable seeds, so the ones that are actually prepared to be collected. As for the rest of them, I'm just going to kind of do a chop and drop, which what that's going to look like is I'm just going to sit them down and allow them to decompose right by the actual patch itself. But kind of hidden. It already looks better, just cutting back what we have so far. I will say, guys, these will bloom sometime into the fall. I usually see them even in winter a bit, so I want to show you guys down at the base. there were seeds that dropped over time, and usually these guys need no care to actually germinate. They just show up everywhere, and that's how this patch kind of began. Seeds fell down, and eventually they produced seedlings. The seeds, this is what the seed looks like here. Pretty nice. And they're all over the place. But anyhow, how's that patch look so far? Cut down pretty low. It's going to rebloom and look a bit better, at least inward towards the fall season. And now my hands smell of calendula. Also, if you look down beneath me, there's actually a bunch of new mulch that I put down here. I want to say I started last week, but I haven't really gotten too far. The mulch pretty much comes all the way back to here, and it stops. So I definitely need to continue the mulching. This just helps retain that water. It will kind of fade off during the winter months, but usually we do keep a bit of wood chips. As you can see, the previous wood chips, they've kind of decomposed here. And I think this is a pretty good thing for your soil. It actually helps feed the microbes in the soil. I found a little piece of rhizome to licorice fern. If you didn't know, licorice fern is actually edible. It's supposed to taste like licorice. I found a perfect example of the licorice fern. These guys will appear only once it's kind of rainy. Here's another rhizome that's pretty soon to turn into the fern. These guys can be found throughout my entire garden. I see a piece right back there as well. But anyhow, back to the garden update. Early in the video, I was adding this cage around one of my hemlocks, only because my dog had broken off another piece of it. So I really need to start thinking about caging some of my more sensitive plants. So we've done this already before. I'll show you an example of the other one that got broken. But we have one back there that needs a cage. We're also going to need to cage this one too, because my dog broke off a branch here. Yeah, so some of these smaller evergreens, my dogs, they don't mean to do it. They step on it and they end up breaking. So it's just best to put a cage around it. This one just so happens to be a golden spreader. So Abies Nordum? Not sure, but golden spreader. Here's the very first hemlock we had to cage. This is a different one. I only caged it because it broke once, twice, a third time for my dogs. And that was when I was like, okay, that's it. Because they kept running through this pathway and they were breaking off the branches. So I ended up putting these two barbs here, or these two stakes here, caging it off. And now it's pretty much safe. It started to produce some new growth. And it's been doing well. And while we're out here, I might as well give you guys an update on Gables Glory. This is the Japanese maple tree that lost pretty much almost all of its leaves. And we cut back those fried leaves, and it's starting to produce new leaves all over the place. So you can see the little red leaves everywhere. I'm just hoping it comes back without too much struggle before winter hits. I'll just keep you guys updated. Here's a quick look at the Ichioji we placed in ground early this year. Ichioji did way better than Gables Glory. Honestly, it's doing way fantastic. And as you can see, we did tie this stretch tape to the cage basket here, just so that we can kind of direct the actual branching more outward. It was growing inward, and it would have been a waste to cut that branch rather than weigh it down and just utilize it as a 3 branching structure. And honestly, this tree is one of my favorites so far because of the colors. Look how well it holds. Barely got fried. This isn't quite some amount of sun, So I want to say the frying happened when we first put the tree in ground, but eventually as time went by, it became a little bit more susceptible to the sun and able to handle its own. This was grown in a polytunnel, but further out, closer to the exit of the polytunnel, where Gables Glory was actually grown inside a polytunnel, like fully inside, and not the best idea to put it in full sun directly after taking out of a polytunnel. That was bad thinking or bad planning on my part. Absolutely horrendous. Also, you can see I've been weighing down a few branches on the Gables Glory as well. Although it's a shame the plant looks really, really bad. Oh, but back to the topic of cutting back plants. If you have lilies, you may as well allow them to kind of brown out a bit more, because what they do is they store energy by collecting sunlight. You can cut off the seed pods, and that way the energy can also go towards the bulbs. But usually I wait till these guys turn yellow before cutting them back sometime in fall. Okay, so I'm headed back there because behind like the pines and whatnot, there's actually one hosta that looks really horrible. It's called Empress Wu, I believe. Now it is between a Japanese maple tree by the name of Sengokaku, and we have the Vanderwolf's pine that's kind of supposed to shade it out, but believe it or not, that is actually in full sun, at least once we enter this section here, which, if you can tell, there is fallen fruit all over the place. In fact, so I tried to record it. Apparently I didn't hit the record button, but guys, I just cut off the flower stalks to this Empress Wu literally like 1 minute ago, if not less. This Empress Wu is actually frying from the full sun that I mentioned earlier. It did take quite the beating, but eventually I'm hoping that this Gotelli, or Weeping Gotelli spruce, will actually provide some shade along with the alpine. Again, we have a Japanese maple tree there, and then a pine tree. Now, all of these things I was hoping would protect it this year. It didn't. It 100% didn't. But it is partially my own fault because I don't really water that hosta. Therefore, it's on a slope. It's fighting against full sun, and it's just not going to do well overall. By the way, here is the hosta stalks that we cut off of it that didn't get recorded, sadly. But yeah, we cut them off. They were going to seed, and if you guys would like for me to ship out some or mail you guys some hosta seeds, maybe in the following years, because I don't think these will be viable since I cut them too early. But in following years, if that's something you guys would like to see in the future, let me know. I believe they do not, or true to the parent, but hey, free hostas. Oh guys, I want to show you something. I wanted to just update you guys since it's been a few days on the pumpkins. That one's a new one that showed up, but let's go look at one of the first ones that formed a few days back ago. It's somewhere in here. It started to bulk up just a little bit. Pumpkins really do grow quite quickly, especially after they've formed. It's like just a matter of weeks before these guys are actually, you know, big and plump. Like here's another one that had formed a few days ago. Now, I did hand pollinate one pumpkin, and then I realized there's so many bees visiting this area, I don't think I have to hand pollinate. And sure enough, I didn't. Here's a hand comparison to one of the other pumpkins here. It's getting quite the size. I'm trying to show you. I think it's a combination of the echinops bringing in the pollinators, as well as I know we have a few other flowers here. Like, I'm not sure if they come visit these, but we have Crocosmia. We've got the oak hydrangeas. We had a few snapdragons here, but I'm not sure if the bees would take kind to these. Here's another flower. I'm not sure if you guys would actually like to take in, but these are straw flowers, and they are going to seed. These seeds are going to fly everywhere in just a bit here. So if you're interested in straw flowers, do let me know. They kind of sound like paper. They first emerge like the one you see right here in the middle, and then they start to open, eventually turning into this, which is so pretty. By the way, we're nearby the Valkyrie daisies that we cut back earlier in the video. These guys, they tend to flop as they get top heavy, so I cut them back down a little bit. They will end up shooting up more flower stalks for me to enjoy during the fall time. But I want to show you another daisy here that's not doing as well as the other. This one, I believe, is the May daisy, and it kind of completely just flattened in the middle. So we're gonna cut these guys back pretty far, see if it reshoots, and hopefully it kind of erects itself. I think it's because it was too top heavy. One thing I don't mention too often is that I am cleaning in between each and every single one of my plants, at least using these alcohol wipes just to make sure to keep things pretty cleanly, or, you know, sanitized. So really helps to stop the spread of any diseases. As you can see, there's just a tad bit of green on top of this. This is from the previous plant. We're gonna go ahead and cut back these daisies now that this is all clean. I'm gonna cut it down really low. You'll see just how low in a moment here. Now, yes, this does look like a pretty bad haircut, but just like a haircut, it will regrow. So we'll have some new offshoots pretty soon here. I'm gonna say give it a few weeks, and this thing will be pretty tall once again. As for the daisy debris, we are going to be composting it, as it's a bit more hard to actually hide here in the garden. So we won't be leaving it in the bed at all. Oh no, there's some sort of creepy little spider in there. But look at the poor daisies that we also had to throw out. Oh, hello, Mr. Spider. You're coming in pretty close. Also, now that the daisies cleared up, it looks a lot more clean back there. So that's pretty okay. By the way, guys, if you've seen my recent short, you'll know that I found a amphibian or frog here in this compost pile. Actually, early in the season, we found a salamander first, then we found a garter snake inside the compost. Then a few days ago, we found a frog here in the compost. So this compost does hold housing for many different walks of life. By the way, it was last year we put this compost together. It's just a combination of 4 stakes, one here, one in the back, one over there, and one here. We originally put leaves in here. Then as we started cutting things back throughout the season or collecting twigs and sticks from pruning, we did add and build onto it. And I think that's what really attracted the wildlife. I never even got to turn it because every time I tried to turn it, I kept finding wildlife, and I just decided to leave it alone. First, again, it was the salamanders, then it was the garter snake, then the frogs. I just saw my koi and they looked a bit hungry. Technically, there's goldfish here as well. But the koi are also in here. The goldfish came because we pretty much got them from the plants. I think we had some eggs on there. So the nursery that I got these plants from, I want to say years ago, but I still keep going back there. I think there was eggs on it, and that's how we got the feeder goldfish in here, or whatever these are. There's the koi. I put the koi in here, but the other fish, they came because of the plants. In fact, the people that I asked, or the store, the nursery I got it from, I asked them how they got their fish. They said they never put them in there. They actually just randomly showed up. And they assumed it was because of some sort of eggs on top of the plants. So I'm guessing that's what happened, because I got them from their nursery. And I swear, every year, the population just increases. I don't know what's going on. It's just getting crazy. In fact, I gave away like over 40 goldfish. That's actually koi. The orange one was a koi fish, but I gave away over 40 goldfish, and yet there's so many goldfish still in here. It's starting to really take over my koi pond. Anyways, I don't know if you can see the lily back there that came up. It did bloom for quite some amount of days. I don't know if it's going to bloom tomorrow. But some news on this pond is it won't actually be here after this year. I'm going to remove the pond, unfortunately, but we are building a new pond because this pond wasn't built properly. I used to have the water filled all the way to the top. I let it lower down because, again, I don't plan on keeping it here. We're going to make it more of a square pond. This is actually 5 foot deep and about 6 foot wide. Not ideal for the koi. I'm actually going to make the pond 11 foot wide and 3 foot deep. By the way, guys, I do want to note that we are about 37 days out, or less than 37 days out, until fall. So we're gonna be doing a countdown pretty soon. It's gonna be in the shorts, and it's gonna be on the trees, mostly the Japanese maple trees. We'll throw in a few random trees as well, like that flamethrower redbud tree right there. And we'll call it 30 days till fall. So in about 7 days, that's when we'll start, if not sooner. So keep an eye out for that. We'll just visit each tree. Honestly excited to do, or to be able to show you guys what things will look like during fall, because that's my favorite time of year and favorite time to really show you guys the garden besides spring. Because spring, again, that's when everything starts to show up as well. But alright guys, I'm going to continue some task around here, and I will see you guys in the next video. Hopefully the garden's tidied up by fall.